Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show. Welcome back to another Saturday Night Shadow Chat. And how you guys doing? I'm waiting for the usual suspects to show up and join me tonight. I was over watching the Dungeon Minister open up a package my son and I sent to him. So I'll try to put a link so you guys can go over and check that out because we got something in the mail, and he received some of them as well from another viewer, and I noticed how much he enjoyed them. And I'm looking at this big old pile of miniatures, like I'm never going to get to these, and so I shipped them off to him, and he and his boys are hopefully going to paint them up and enjoy the heck out of them up north. And I can't wait to see them painted, to be honest. So, how you guys doing out there in TV land? Let's see who we got in the chat. Justin is saying, "Give me 5 minutes." Now you tell me. No, I'm good. And Crafting Gamer, he's over in Bruce Lombardo's live play, so he'll be a little bit late, but he's going to be asking the questions for tonight's topic because it's something that he's very passionate about in his role playing games and the game that he's writing. So I figured, what the heck, give me the night off, so to speak. Even though I'm still here, I don't have to, ask all the questions and do all the things because I had a pretty busy day. I had a fence to take care of. What? Bo, hey, what's up, Crafton? Get your ass in here. Oh, you know what? I forgot to put the link. Or did I? I don't remember. Let's go over to Discordia and see if I can't put the link in there because I'm a bonehead. And Bo, if you'd like to come and join us, you are always welcome to hang out. Had fun in your game last night. It's funny. Last night, my character in Bo's game dang near died because he was a meathead on a motorcycle. You know what do you expect from a 22-year-old kid, right? Gets his first motorcycle. Of course, he's going to crash it. That was the point. Live stream links. But the funny thing is today in OGGM's game, the entire party almost TPK'd because we were in way over our head. But that's what makes these games so much fun is getting in over your head and then trying to wriggle your way back out. Oh, the link is there now. Sorry, guys. I worked so hard in the backyard. I got one of those headaches. I don't know if you get them. Maybe it's just being old thing. But I had a headache for like most of the day. Had a big dinner and then got to take a nice little nap. And that's usually what I have to do to get rid of one of those headaches. And it worked. Followed up by a nice piece of chocolate cream pie. Yeah, I know I shouldn't be doing that, but I figured I was going to need a little energy, a little extra energy for tonight's shenanigans. George, Bo, Crafting Gamer, come on down, be the next contestants. So that's what I've been up to in addition to putting together some of these unbelievable Star Schlock minis from the game Star Schlock. It's a new sci-fi skirmish game. It's basically if you took Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon, Star Wars, Star Trek, Planet of the Apes, any 70s TV show or movie, and you took all the greatest things out of it and turned it into a skirmish game, that's what you get. Now, each of these minis is about $5 for a metal mini these days, unheard of. And I don't know if you'll be able to see that. Let me get my handy dandy thingamabob. Oh, you know what? If I use that, you won't be able to see it because it's white. I'll just use my hand. But there is the Captain Taylor miniature, and the face is the spitting image of Charlton Heston. And let's see if I can find something else that's really cool. Here's an ape. How about if I do it this way? Can you see it? There you go. I missed a spot on the primer, but it's chock full of things like that. Then there's, let me see. Oh, I'm still working on this Buck Rogers miniature. All of the names have been changed to protect the guilty, but it is a lot of fun. George, welcome to the show. How you doing, brother? Long time no see. And of
I'm
course,
muted. Of course.
uh, Of course,
Uh,
it's also got the mutants. This one's actually holding if you remember from Planet of the Apes, when they take off their face to reveal their innermost self to their maker, he's actually holding his face. Just classic stuff. It's even got a Robbie the Robot miniature. I have never seen anyone actually sculpt Robbie the Robot. I've actually been in Robbie's presence. I've literally touched him at Movie Land Max Wax Museum hundreds of times. There's crafting. Let's get him in here because this is his topic for the evening. George, I got to ask, what is that in the background?
oh, I just found a black light. So I have above is that thing my GM made for our party,
Hmm.
and below I grabbed some of my books that would kind of glow in the black light. So
Nice.
one is Savage Worlds because there's a lot of white in the cover for the
Nice.
camera.
I don't know if you know this, but me and the boy, we used to do a lot of craft projects. Not so much anymore. But one of our favorite things was to paint up all our D&D miniatures and terrain and things like that. And we'd throw in some black light paint, and then
Yeah,
we turn out the lights, and you could see everything in glowing. Oh, we love that so
yeah.
much.
I remember one of the first things like cool like experience with blacklight was I had like an Ozzy Osbourne blacklight poster, which had that like
Oh,
that velvet kind of feel to them.
yeah, we've got you remember the blacklight posters? There was one called the Voyage. It was that big sailing ship. Do you remember that one?
No, no,
Well, I love that poster so much growing up. It stayed in my house for a long, long time,
yeah, they were
and
the best.
I found one, right. Mind you, the very same posters from 1970s run about $150, and
Oh
I thought
gosh,
I found a steal. I found one for like 40, right?
okay.
I'm like, oh, I'm putting it up in my boy's room. I cannot wait. It arrived in the mail in a tiny little box or envelope, or I forget what. And it turns out it was like, you know, just about this, a little over a
Oh
foot by a
gosh,
foot. I'm like, oh, it's so cool as heck. I'll get a picture and post it later somehow. But I
yeah,
love that poster. It inspired so many of my games, the one
yeah.
I'm currently running. Did you ever get is that poster one of the ones you're supposed to color yourself?
I don't think so. I don't think I could, but I have the file. I could print it, but the yeah,
Oh
my
no,
when I showed it to my daughter, her first instinct was like, I want to get a marker and color it. It's like which was
the
mine too.
Mechanicus have come.
No, I just haven't turned my cam link on.
It's a
Hey Justin.
Gears, and
Yeah,
I do love the Mechanicus from Warhammer. So my first thought was them.
yeah. I like the new picture.
Thank you. I was playing around with some
Oh,
different
cool.
pictures I could use for my avatar.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No.
I like the black light stuff. It's been so some cool stuff. I remember some of the clubs used to go to when I was young. Would have like a black light, and you had to be careful. You weren't wearing a black shirt because all your dandruff would show.
Mm.
And one cool thing they have out here in Denver is it's originally started in New Mexico. It's called Meow Wolf. It's kind of like an art installation, and then they expanded to Denver, and I think they also have one in Vegas. And there's a lot of blacklight stuff in that. It's basically kind of like an otherly world kind of setup. Kind of has a story, kind of doesn't, but it's really cool if you ever look it up. And if you're in like Santa Fe, check it out because they're really cool.
I absolutely love them. Um, and no worries, Bo. I was like I was saying though, I was absolutely. Hey, what's up, Squirrel? Sorry, I missed you there. I was amazed, but not really, at how expensive the originals are. looking, and the one I want is $150,
The
and
original's what? Sorry,
the
I missed.
original blacklight posters from the '70s.
Oh yeah.
And I'm telling you guys, when you see the voyage, it's this sailing galleon, but the neon colors are all the sunset, and then it's also reflected on the wood. It is literally, a lot of them were kind of cheesy and hokey and kind of meant for the drug culture and things like that. But this one is literally an absolute work of art. Um, it it stayed up here and in here my whole life. It's one of the very reasons I'm so into nautical games, as Justin can attest to. There's just something about it. It's
There's
the
nautical
height of
stuff in our game. I
what
don't know.
it was.
That's
All I
actually part of the
remember is
sorry.
going.
Yeah, right. Thankfully, it's not live, right? Uh, it was like
It would be
the
funny.
height of human bravery for many years until the actual space race. The bravest thing you could do was to get on one of them rickety old wooden ships and go out and sail you know off to wherever, not knowing what you might find, what might find you, and then to do battle against another rickety old ship or a fleet of ships, just
And when it
balls of
comes to the
steel.
when it comes to the bravery part, in our world back then, they believed in monsters. In
Hmm.
fantasy world, the monsters are real. So either way, you had to be brave as fuck.
Absolutely, and it's just got such an allure for me that I had to get that poster, and I knew it wouldn't fit in the studio anywhere, and I wanted it to be part of Jackie's growing up, so that he would always remember that image, just because it's just so beautiful. The oranges and even the pinks and the yellows, it, whoever created it was just absolutely magnificent.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of those. Like I told you, we used to have not blacklight, but the original dogs playing poker on Suede.
Oh, nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, I miss
Yeah,
that.
I'll find the image and I'll post it in Discord because I'm terrible at sharing screens. I'll kick myself out of the show and I can't actually
Yeah,
you know
those
risk that.
70s, those 70s velvet paintings of the naked girl with the afro, like from The Shining.
Mhm.
Mm. Um, yeah. Uh, you said don't wear a black shirt while under blacklight. Also, don't wear
Yeah.
anything that's remotely like suede
Mm.
or fake suede. I did that once, and it looked like I had spots sprayed all over me.
Mm.
It looked like I
Yeah.
was in a shadow production.
Or one thing was you'd grab a white shirt and then you realized since it was white, you washed it with bleach, but you'd see
Have you
the
guys?
spot where the
You
bleach
probably
bleached it out.
Justin. You've probably never been to Disneyland, right?
I've been to Disneyland.
Oh, you have. Oh,
Or the one in Florida.
okay. Well, they've got a bunch of rides
That's
like
Disneyland, right?
yeah,
Yours is World.
yeah. Well, yeah. Well, we've got both. Disneyland's in California. Disney World's in Florida.
Yeah,
Um,
okay, Disney World then.
in Disneyland, they've got a bunch of rides, including Mr. Toad's Wild Ride and a few others.
Yeah.
Alice in Wonderland is one of them, and Peter Pan, and a lot of them use a lot of neon colors and black lights.
Mhm.
And I noticed that I had gone there once, for something sort of formal. So I was wearing a white button down shirt, and of course I was trying to get away with doing something you're not supposed to do on the ride, and my white shirt was just like a beacon, just of light. Uh, it was pretty funny, but that's when I first realized that that's one of the effects that they were using all the way back then to make those rides, a little more
Pop.
interesting and a little more uh, visually stunning.
Yeah, it's an easy thing to do. That and the double mirror effects and all that stuff. It's
Mhm.
got a name, but I can never remember what it is with the lenses and the.
Yeah,
So they do the
yeah,
ghosts, right?
Squirrel. Thanks. I was over there. I've actually got him on the screen here. I was gonna do. I was originally planning on like leaving you guys here and going over and hanging out with Dungeon Minister and in the chat. But I figured, you know what, I'll just postpone the show a little so he can do his thing and we don't step on each other's toes too much. But I had to go over and say hi. I
Hmm.
I knew he would enjoy those miniatures more than we would because they for us it was a nice chunk of generic D&D miniatures that it was a great deal, so I figured I'll grab it, and I got them, and I'm like, I just don't have the space, the time. Most of the miniatures I already have something equivalent of, and I noticed how much he enjoyed them. So he and
Yeah.
his boys will now get to paint up 100+ minis over the course of however long it takes him. Now I just got to get him some
Fun.
proper paints because he's using craft paints. Um,
Funnily enough, the Cowboys I sent you had the same exact mentality. It's like, oh, these aren't that expensive. Bruce Shadow would love them.
mhm.
So I grabbed them.
uh, yeah, I love the Chronoscope line that they're from. I may even actually have them already, but don't worry, I'll still paint them up because uh,
Kit bash them.
yeah,
If you've got them already, uh, cut
I'll
the
have to go
guns
through
off and put
my
on laser
Cowboys
pistols
and
and whatnot.
yeah, maybe throw some laser pistols or maybe just
Oh, that
having extra Cowboys, never hurts,
that
especially.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of seeing the undead outlaw with a laser pistol now.
Mhm.
That'd be pretty cool.
George,
Yo.
the camo logo can be removed just by removing the layer in the side panel. They don't charge you for that.
What? In the site
Uh,
panel. Oh, in the
yeah,
camo itself?
yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Site panel.
Because it's like right on top of your head.
Ah.
uh, ah, uh,
They sit just right. It makes it look like you got a tattoo of it on your forehead.
Look like Teal'c.
Yeah.
there are four of us. I call Jack O'Neill.
Daniel Jackson.
You're Amanda Carter.
God, I could not
Hey,
stand that character. Was
hey,
I
that
the only one?
hey, Amanda Carter ain't bad because that means I'm no longer a fat, average-looking guy. I'm officially at least a
So
hot
you're
one.
going to transition? Is that what you're telling us? Is this your outing party? Um,
I look a lot better than I do now. I'll admit that.
yeah, just be a lesbian and it's all good, right?
Yep.
Yeah, don't do that. Um, I, 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 I,
Agreed.
I could not stand that character. She's an attractive young lady. She's obviously talented, etc., etc. But I'm just like, huh?
For me,
Yeah.
she was meh. I liked her quote unquote humbleness. Or sometimes she was humble, sometimes she wasn't. I like that over like Rodney K's I am the smartest thing on the entire megaverse attitude. But on the same hand,
Yeah.
she was meh. I wouldn't call her
Right,
great either. Her
right.
character was meh.
Yeah, her personality was kind of like, it's like she wanted to be a little bit of everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Brian? You want to join this
Right.
this nonsense? Or are you just
Yeah.
driving by and squeaking out a silent but deadly and then moving on?
I
We
think you
used to
found the Zoom function, not the. It's above that.
we used to have a couple of uh, people where I worked. They would stock up on a nice Roach Coach Mexican lunch and then walk by your workstation and just rip one silent but deadly, and you're just like, oh, you can't say anything because you're surrounded by people. Um,
You see, that's when it officially becomes chemical warfare because at that point I'll start eating a lot of raw onions.
Mm.
nice.
Oh. Mm.
So how you been, Brian? Been a while. You need
Yeah.
to come hang out with us a little more often. Just saying. How's it going to feel when I finally move down to Texas? and you're too busy to hang out. I'm like, I moved all the way out here to hang out with you, bro, and you do me dirty like that.
Well, you can always get them to come over. You just have to order some Taco Bell or something.
Yeah. Funnily enough, Dungeon
No,
Minister,
no.
a fellow Canadian of yours, in his show earlier today,
Yeah, I saw it.
oh, you did? You saw him spouting the virtues of Taco Bell. Good for you, man. I wasn't sure that he was, you know, your style or whatever. Maybe he's a little too pure and wholesome for you, and it might,
Yeah,
make you die a little inside. But awesome, glad to hear it.
I did have to put up the shields.
Okay,
I had to
okay,
like watch it through a mirror and stuff like that.
okay. Watch it through a mirror. Clever, nice.
I've got George on a rabbit hole trying to figure out software. You're muted.
Oh, now
by
you've
the way.
muted yourself.
Is it in the camo or the restreams settings?
Do you care if I share my screen, Shadow?
Go for it. Go for it.
Oh,
Since you know how and I don't,
yeah.
Dun, dun, dun,
I
dun,
got
dun,
this
dun,
thing.
dun.
I can't see. I can't see
Bum,
you.
bum, 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 bum.
Okay, so this is. It
Ah,
looks like this for you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna close the microphone. I'm gonna close that. You see this right here?
Can you wiggle your mouse a little bit?
Right here. It says screen and yeah. You open that.
Screen and watermarks. Yeah.
Yeah. You
It
open
says
that.
all.
Yeah. And then you scroll down and then just click on. This is the one. You see how it popped up down there for me? Right there for me. Just click on it.
The one like that doesn't show.
Yeah, it's a. Oh. Just click on any of them and then click on it again.
Let's see. I think that's the watermark. Is there.
So I scored a really nice desk lamp today for $5
All right.
at the
I know where to fiddle
local
with it.
garage sale.
Yeah,
I need
now
to
click
plug
on that
in.
one again because it's got clouds over your face. Good, there we go.
Perfect. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Can I remove the
Yeah.
fifth?
No, leave Justin on the big screen. He now rules the world.
Yeah,
I
I'm
gotta
not doing
find
that.
where
I've seen what he
sharing
does
that.
with a little bit of power.
What do I do with a little bit of power?
Nothing. You know, nothing
Egregious?
too war crimey yet. But I am suspicious that when we're not looking, things are happening behind the scenes.
My first thought with that was Justin gets phenomenal cosmic power. He goes, I'm taking a power nap.
Oh my god!
3
bro.
months later.
Nice. I have to bring that comment up because that's just.
Yeah. Yeah, I read that.
The thing is he had him in a drawer, right, Brian?
Well, down the hall. They're not mine, but I enjoy it.
Okay, that'll work. No kink shaming here, right, Brian? We've had you on enough times. No.
We kink shame here. It's a policy. It's like rule number 2.
Is it? I'll have to go check the bylaws.
It might be rule number 1.
No. I think rule number one. I think rule number 1 is we will veer off topic at the first opportunity.
I thought it
Speaking
was
of
rule number
topic,
3. Of 3.
No. Rule number 3 is he who has gas sits at the back of the pack.
No, they sit at the front, right in front of Shadow. He's into that kind of thing, and we don't kink shame. Remember?
he is not in that statement. So you guys ready to start this
Yes.
wind this topic up?
I don't know what the topic
I
is.
am going to switch places with Crafting Gamer here because I like putting him on the spotlight.
Ooh.
So what do you got for us, Crafting?
Well, we're going to start with question number one. Is one actually wasn't generated. I thought it was, but it's perfect for this topic.
Out with the man.
Yes. We will start
As a
with
matter of fact, I am going to
George.
increase your volume because I'm old.
Okay.
Say something.
Hello.
Okay, that'll work.
All right,
Make
we're going to
sure.
start with George. Is there
Oh.
an evolution of technology in your game, and if so, what does it look like?
An evolution of technology. So one of the
Like,
games.
I can give an example if you want.
Let the guy
Oh
answer the
yeah,
question.
please.
An excellent example is when I did the playtest for my game, I let one of the characters go from black powder rifles to RPGs.
Okay.
Just straight jump,
Yeah.
no evolution.
Yeah. I see.
You let them go from
So
black powder
I,
rifles
I
to role playing games.
in role playing games, I
Yeah.
don't have too much experience with this, but in like something like Civilization, those kind of or like Civilization builder type games,
Mhm.
I always want to find an interesting way. Like could somebody that like was like ancient Greek or something have gunpowder? And there's a whole alternate history, alternate technology kind of idea that like, oh, what if the ancient Greeks had a proclivity to take the the steam engine, which they had some rudimentary concepts of. They also had rudimentary concepts of pistons, and all the things were there, but they never made it. And how would they would have had how would the world have looked if technology went on a different path? I do love the ideas of like, and maybe maybe it's not going to be the way it happened here. Maybe we they would have um, trains before they had gunpowders, for example, or something like that.
Yeah.
And I do love that idea of alternate history paths. I used to play a lot of like Civilization, and that was always the thing. But it was always a min max thing when I would play because I'd like try to get the best technologies first. So there's that
Mm.
whole sort of tree thing. Like some things do make sense that you can't unlock before you get an understanding of the next step.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to bunker down in those kind of games and like max out my resources, my research before expanding. I become a dynamo of imperviousness before I start steamrolling things. But it's just a different method of playing. Um, I guess I could go next.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, I like the evolution of technology as long as it's not like jumping 50 years in technological development in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That tends to be the thing. Or like, yeah, okay, we can figure something out and it will change the world a little bit, but it's not like, okay, we went from water wheels to nuclear reactors in a weekend, uh, because magic or whatever. But you could
Yeah.
do that. Like there are magic. Like you could have like your wizard create a source of perpetual heat. I think there is something like that in D&D. Well, what
Yeah.
happens when you use that to make a water boiler and then use the steam from that to fill an envelope, right? Like
Right.
you make a hot air balloon, and without having to carry a fuck ton of fuel. Especially if your hot air balloon is condensating, right? So
Yeah.
like you're recollecting the water vapors as it drips down the inside of the envelope. Uh, like you could do that without breaking the technological curve of the entire world just by like accelerating too fast, which a lot of people do, right? Like you say, well, you can invent things, but then they just like jump to fucking cell phones in a medieval era or whatever, which is annoying. I don't know.
Yeah.
Your opinion, Shadow?
Well, you guys know I run a galaxy, not just a world, and therefore each of my worlds has, a completely different history and evolution of science and technology, and sometimes there is magic involved. So I try to, not always follow the steps that Earth took. I know that's all we have to go by. So it makes sense in some ways, but in other ways, to me, it doesn't make any sense at all that it would have to be this, step one, then step two, then step three throughout the entire universe. There are going to be places that come across, like Stargate. You know how the Asgardians would have never thought of, using bullets because of reasons. Well, maybe the universe or the planet that the players are on or visiting, or this little empire or something like that, they had a different process, and that helps create a feel of, a strange new world, because it it's a new world that went about its own evolutionary process in some sort of different manner, and that it might seem like a lot of work, but all you have to do is like knock a couple of things out of place, and give them, like, they made this leap here instead of going the same process we did. But then it also builds in sometimes like a weakness. Maybe they did everything without electricity somehow, or something like that. They haven't developed these advances that other people did, and found workarounds, and sometimes that leaves a chink in their armor that the players can exploit, or vice versa.
Yeah, this steampunk genre is like kind of like based on that notion that it's like an alternate technological path where we didn't go into computers or something like that, into electronics or combustion engines, but steam engines were the kind of the thing. Have you ever guys ever watched in the 80s there was a show called Connections? It was a science
No,
show.
never heard of it.
Oh, it was. Oh, it
Nope,
was. If
neither
you
have
ever
I.
look on YouTube, it's really cool because he would take a subject and start like maybe around the late Middle Ages, early kind of Renaissance period, and he would say, okay,
Connections.
the how the invasion of this, of Germany in like 1542, um, led to computer chips or something like that,
Mhm.
and he would have these really off the wall, kind of off the wall, but just how would you say, like the sort, just like these ironic historical moments where like the right people meet, or the guy, this guy was a devotee of somebody else, or they would develop this chain of weird events that would lead to some technological advances. Like let's see, one of them, it's been so long ago that it's hard to remember a lot of them, but they were like so it would be somebody was there would a lot of it would be scientists were like they would be learning about one to solve one problem, like dewatering a mine, and then it leads to like learning about pressure and gases and things like that, and then next thing you know there's the same in this, especially in the older times where they would a lot of the scientists would have several subjects they would be working on, and it would just lead to the next discovery. It was pretty fascinating, and sometimes it wasn't just a scientific event; it was like a historic event, or like the guy who invented radio. He's like the son of like one of the Jameson heirs, the whiskey from Ireland. So weird connections like that would happen, things like
Yeah.
that. It was pretty fascinating.
Mm.
Well,
I
my
just put a
answer to
link to
this-
a playlist for it in YouTube.
Oh,
check
okay.
it out.
Yeah, it's really cool. It
Yeah. My answer to
I know
this
they got
question
the first 4 episodes. Sorry, bro.
is, okay.
You were saying?
My answer to this question is I'm actually building in a evolutionary, not necessarily tree, but a set of evolution for technology that can be not necessarily has to be implemented in my game, because there are artificers, and throughout the game you have multiple levels of technology. So I like the idea of there being an evolution, and basically two types of evolution. There is the individual player evolution, where the player can come to multiple conclusions to eventually come to something really advanced. And then there is a societal evolution, where society needs to build so far before it can start building certain technologies.
Mm.
And I see this as an opportunity for both the GM and the players to have a different type of game besides just slash and hack or hack and slash. Whatever.
Yeah, that's what do they call that? Domain play.
Yeah.
That's when you introduce the virtues of slavery into your world.
Well, one of the things actually with
No,
technology
Shadowlow slavery. That's why.
would be like, why didn't the Greeks and Romans like just push the technology? One of the things was they had slavery, and why would you want to make a special pump to pump out the mines because you weren't doing it? So let them get wet.
Yeah.
And there's also like these civilizational sort of mentalities towards science. Like the ancient Greeks, their other drawbacks was they were kind of in their heads. It was sort of a similar attitude towards science as like the aristocracy had to work in the in the the 1700s. Let's say like they're like, oh, he makes his money by working. How dare he? He's such a uncouth person. And that was the same thing. Like, why would you like they had almost that kind of attitude towards science, or sometimes in some cases it might be like a religious thing where it's like you can't look too much into God's creation or you're like being heretical or something.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the next question will actually start with Justin because he already touched on it a little bit, which is how does magic affect the evolution of technology?
We keep bumping into each other. Sorry.
If you can do something with magic now, why would you develop a method to do it technologically unless there was the ability, like unless the magical solution was rare? But at the same time, like, okay, I can do something with magic, but it's hard to do it with magic, so I know it can be done. Like that's like half of technological development, more than half, 90% of technological development is taking something that you know can be done and doing it more efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's very rare that something comes along that's actually revolutionary. Most of the technological development is actually taking something that exists, either making it cheaper or making it smaller or more efficiently. Uh, like you use the 3D printer, for example. Those things have been around since like 84, 83,
Something
right?
like that.
But when did you find out about them? The mid 2000s, because they were
Yeah.
such a uh, like expensive, hard to make, hard to
Oh
maintain,
yeah.
hard to operate. Like only
Very.
specialists in super wealthy production companies could afford them.
Oh yeah. Very first 3D printer I ever seen was on the Jeff Dunham behind the scenes of one of his videos, and
I
he
remember
freely
that.
did it. It was a $10,000 machine. When I first seen that, I was like, man, I'm never going to have a 3D printer. So I never thought much of it
Actually,
until one day
the
I
first
found a
one
3D
you
printer
probably
for cheap.
saw. I'm going to say this: the first one you probably ever saw was in the opening sequence to Toy Soldier.
Oh, that is right. And I did see Toy Soldier before
Yeah.
Fifth Element, which is another 3D printer.
Toy Soldier or Small Soldiers?
The one with little robot soldiers. They're like action figures, but they actually
Yeah, I
walk
think it was
around.
Small Soldiers.
Yeah, they
The
gave
small
him learning
soldiers.
technology, and all of a sudden
I
they're just like
I was trying to think. Toy
basically super
Soldiers, something like
soldiers.
that?
Yeah, Toy Soldiers might have been that movie with Will Wheaton and
Yeah, I know what movies he's talking about, though.
the Academy. But yeah, you know the one I'm talking about, the one with Kirsten Dunst in it.
Yeah.
Which is like the best part of that movie.
I wasn't Tommy Lee Jones in it as one of
Yeah,
the
he
voice
was the
actors.
voice
That's
of
for me. That was better than
yeah, because
because
you
Kirsten Dunst
swing
is
that
like
way.
a 3.
You're nuts. Kirsten Dunst's aces is like a 10.
You
So
and
Shadow,
yeah.
sorry.
Can you repeat the question? Because Justin's distracting the shit out of me.
How does technology affect the evolution of your technology?
Magic affect the evolution of your technology.
Well, it depends because a lot of people, like Justin's argument. Well, why would you do this if magic was there? Well, then I remind people, well, because most DMs are tightwad so and so's who don't let the players actually have any real magic, or they make it so awful that nobody wants to cast a light spell because they may grow a third eye or a tentacle doing so. That man or whoever will find alternatives, and like the term the great equalizer. Technology can be the great equalizer against magic for the common man when the common man can't have a lightning bolt spell, but you know what, he can come up with
With a
a
shotgun.
357. You know what? And he doesn't have to worry about growing a third eye or a tentacle because he mixed up some chemicals and went down to the wood shop and the metal shop and put together a shotgun, and
Worst he
now
has to, worst
Got
he has to
lung
do,
cancer.
the worst he has to really worry about is the thing blowing up in his face because he got the
no worries,
powder
George,
mixture
and
on.
welcome back, Squirrel. So it all depends, and for my usual game worlds, I like to have technology progress at not a snail's pace and not necessarily a normal pace, but sometimes it'll be you could run any one of the speeds. Maybe it even runs faster than normal because of the magical
Hmm.
abilities of finding out information. So imagine you had a sage, right, or someone with one of the information spells, and he actually is going to use magic to learn how to create, the electric light bulb or other technologies, and then you
He
get those things
divinates the
quicker.
answer.
Yeah, he asks his god, which chemical do I use, or should I use this chemical, or should I do this or do that? And then next thing you know, you have a world that's very different from the traditional Earth equivalents, which I really, you guys know, I try to make worlds that are very different than Earth because the whole Earth thing has been done to death, in my opinion, and creating something brand new is part of the fun of being a dungeon master, I think, or a game master, is making something about your world weird enough, thank you, Squirrel, and different enough to make it your own, and you can say, this is your contribution to the beginnings of the game, and then let the players run wild with it, and then you get to sit back and watch what happens after you've you know thrown a couple of given them a couple of advantages or new tools to play with and see what they come up with.
Okay. Well, we'll have to swing back to this one if George comes back in time. But so we'll move on to the next question. Shadow.
Well, what was your answer?
Oh, right. Sorry, right.
Yeah, don't forget you get to do more than just read off the questions, bro.
I get sorry, I get a little excited. Okay, literally. Magical in. I'll give a three-part answer here. In fantasy games, I let magic affect technology, but also I let technology affect magic. Like for example, like Shadow said, a lot of GMs are very tightwad. I am one of them. I didn't think I was when I first got into watching these guys on hobbies, and then I found out. I watched Bruce, and he's like, "Oh yeah," and he's giving out my opinion, treasure left and right. Oh man, Bruce is just giving out with the treasure, and a lot of players are like, "Oh, Bruce is so stingy with the treasure." It's like, then you don't want to play my game.
No, I've been in
Yeah,
Bruce's
no. It
Steve.
does. It doesn't matter. You can give out an entire planet's worth of gold, and the players will still say you're stingy.
That is true, but either way, so there, as far as I'm concerned, despite what Maxiao says, there will be a necessity for mechanical versions of magical items, simply because there will be people who can't afford it, can't use it, or outright rejects it. Like there are people who will go magic is evil because they had some bad experience and blame all magic for it, and will want to find ways to counter it that are still powerful.
I recommend you read the Sword of Truth series. It's a great magic is evil, but a lot of magic's around kind of book series.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
in sci-fi games that I allow magic, I actually let I make still magic very rare,
You too,
but magic
Squirrel.
can actually
Take care, man. Good seeing you again.
be used to more power or enhance existing technology more than actually create new technology, which is still kind of inventing their own technology because it could be used in different ways. And in my game, I'm using a blend of both of that because magic goes as far can be as powerful as Mage the Ascension magic with certain characters, but that also means technology needs to be able to keep up. Otherwise, all you have is a bunch of GIMP players compared to the one mage.
That's okay.
Yeah, but
You call those
I
players
don't-
meat shields.
I fully believe 100% that balance is a false god. But I believe there should be ways that characters can attempt to achieve balance between each other. But that's up to them. That's not going to be directly in the base rules.
Yeah. Dungeon Minister.
Yeah,
Hey, long time no see, man. We got to stop meeting like this. Our wives are going to get jealous.
I've seen a couple
Oh.
of his videos. He's got a good opinion. If he's not busy, he'd be welcome to answer some of his questions. If it's okay with you, Shadow.
Oh.
You want to hang out, Dungeon Minister? I can send you the link. Or I can do that. I know how to do that. I don't have him on Discord, but I do have his email, so I can do that.
Why don't you have him on Discord? I know he's on Discord.
We just haven't gotten around to doing that. It's a good question.
Dungeon Minister. Whoa. Like,
Because we don't put the link in the chat because then bad things happen.
Huh.
Very bad things. Things you have
there's
to.
a reason why
Things you.
Shadow is going to hell.
Hey, there's still hope, isn't there?
You can't produce that content and save your soul, bro.
No worries, Dungeon Minister. And thanks
Yeah.
again for letting us send that to you. Like the old adage, it is better to give than receive, and hopefully
Yeah.
you'll share those with your youngins. And seriously, go check out a couple of slap chop videos, and let's see what we can do about getting you some proper paints. Even though I worked with craft paints for decades, the stuff that's the new stuff
Let's see.
will make you feel like you've gone up like 10 levels in painting without having gone up 10 levels in painting. Just saying.
Let's hope my
And
computer doesn't act too bad when I do this.
and we can
It's way
see
too bright.
some.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Can't see it. Damn. That is
The
it was
Wiz
really our pleasure.
Vallejo Whiz Kids Basic Starter Kit. These are all half bottles, but it's a great place to start for knowing what colors you want to use. I already have bottles that I know for a fact I'm going to want to replace, and other bottles that will sit in here and may last me a lifetime, even though it's a half bottle.
Mhm.
yeah.
And it's less than $100, so it's a great place to start.
Well, he's in Kanakistan, so it's like $3,000.
And then the shipping
enough.
would be like,
No, it will be distributed from a warehouse here, but yeah, we can see your back, bro. You don't need to tell us.
But yeah, I think I know a way to get you some good paints, because it's not just the paints, it's the washes. When you throw a wash on something, there's a reason why they call it talent in a bottle. It's literally a gift from God. It's magical what a good wash on.
I think
I'll
you have
see
to
if I can
say
find
10
this
Hail
set.
Marys for that, bro.
Pardon?
I'll see if I can find this. Sorry, let's finish this.
You have to say 10 Hail Marys for taking the Lord's name in vain that way.
Can I do that off camera? Because we.
No, I'll do it now. With a flatulence
The
test.
guy above is George. Sorry, let me move that so that how do I work things? Okay.
Just
I know. I just sometimes when I click there, it doesn't. It brings up another screen when I click on the message that's been highlighted. I'm going to send you some stuff, Dungeon Minister, some links and things like that.
Yeah,
You're
I'll see if I can find
Discord.
a link to where you can buy this particular set. It comes with bases, paints, and washes.
Yeah. Wow. I got the big set back in the day, and I'm still working through it. So
Well,
Oh, yeah.
since someone sent me the entire speed paint set, and the very least I can do is something similar. You know, to someone, especially knowing that it's going to go to the dungeon minister and his boys. The idea of passing this tradition on to the next generation is literally what our channel's always been about, and meeting people who get to share that with their kids is
Oh yeah.
one of the greatest
Well,
things ever.
I finally figured out what I'm doing with the miniature sets Cal sent me. Long story, he sent me an extra miniature set that I ended up not needing, so he asked me to pass it on, and as he did to me. I've been trying to figure out how to do that. I do not have a big enough channel to do a giveaway, but I do have a bunch of relatives with kids. We have something called a white elephant or something like that every year. Primers, paints, speed paint specifically. Well, maybe paints and speed paints, and that miniature set as a Christmas gift at the white elephant, and someone random will get it, and they'll have something to do with their kids for years to come.
yeah, you can do that.
Though it's going to cost me a few bucks because I have to put in some primer, and I have to get some paints, which I don't currently have because I'm not getting any of my current set.
Yeah, well, you can give away all the colors you don't like.
Problem is, I like them all to the point that I will use them at some point.
Someone can get that awkward purple and fuchsia and that one green that never goes with anything, and you know.
Well, there is actually a green in there that's like, oh, that's a bit odd. I don't know if I'll ever use that one.
You thin it down and use it as a glaze. George is like, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
But yeah, Cal, that's George. How do you pronounce your last name, George?
Oh, that's just the jumble of my first name. My last name is not.
Oh,
my last
okay.
name.
Oh,
Yeah.
Shadow.
I guess-
Yes, who's the guy above Shadow? That means he meant me.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's TCG. That's TCG over there. Just ignore him.
Yeah, my computer gets a little freaky when I have the camera on.
Yeah.
It's an old computer that desperately. It's in the computer world. It is literally a fossil.
Gotcha.
So they're still selling it on the store shelves, huh?
Pretty much.
So
Yes.
what's going on?
So, that means we can still ask George's previous question since we never actually left it. George, how does technology affect the evolution of your technology? How does magic affect the evolution?
Usually my thing would be is it becomes like the power source, the magic. The setting that I like the most, where it's sort of a mix of magic and technology, is it's not there. It doesn't go too much into. At least I haven't read too far enough that I don't know too much about it. But is the Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. So in that world, the magic, there are people with magical abilities that vary. They're sort of kind of coming back to their world, and they have the continent is called Roshar, and every 2 weeks or so, this insane storm blows over the continent and comes back every 2 weeks.
You cut out there.
Oh, and this storm blows over the continent every 2 weeks, and there's something magical about that storm as well. And they have these crystals. You leave them out in the storm, and it charges them up. And the characters that can do magic kind of can use that as a source of their like magic. It's like their mana or whatever energy for their magic is. And the other thing is they do make devices that use these crystals to do things that are basically act like machines,
like power armor.
Yeah. Oh, they do have a.
That's the whole premise of the series.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Armor. It's been so long. I haven't read it in such a long time. I got to go back into it. Yeah, the armor, and and if you as in the fight, each part has one of those crystals in it, and what they would do is I think they have to leave it out somewhere to grow back after, like, if it gets destroyed in a fight. Yeah, I got to go back into looking at that. It's a cool series.
I don't know. I really don't like his style of writing, but honestly, I can only judge him on the 3 books at the end of Wheel of Time.
I haven't read the last one. I'm
So
like the
Shadow, you
biggest.
still there? Oh, sorry.
I'm the biggest Wheel of Time.
I'm still
fan.
here.
Yeah, he's pooping.
Yeah. Yeah. So don't
Start off with
just don't spoil the last book for me. That's the only request I have.
Magic, then magic. There's
You've
a
ruined it
wheel.
forever.
There's a wheel.
No.
There's a guy with a spear. A guy with a hat. A guy with a sword. With 3
Yeah.
wives.
I have so much respect for Robert Jordan as an author. It's like he's like dying of like a rare disease. He's got like 3 books left to finish, and he moves heaven and
prolonged that
earth.
shit. He wasn't as bad as Ratcliffe or Soros wannabe. George
Yeah.
Martin.
Yeah.
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 You know the King Killer Chronicles, right?
Which one's that? The King Killer. Is that the which one's that one?
It's the one where the guy's in the inn and he's telling the story to the wandering.
Quoth. That
Quoth.
one.
Yeah. Quoth. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been 14
Patrick
years.
Ruffles.
Yeah, it's been 14 years since the last installment.
Yeah, he's a big
You
simp.
think you Game of Thrones guys have it bad? He's at least writing other stuff.
Yeah, I read the first book, and nothing else had come out yet. And I liked this. He had a good prose.
Well, yeah, the second book took like 2 years to come out, and then it's been 14, 15 years since then.
For
a trilogy. He says it's already done. No. The imprint that was selling this book went out of business waiting for him to release it. He literally cost people their jobs.
Oh my god.
Shadow,
I don't know.
you're up for the next question. Are there rare or unique ingredients required? Well, excuse me. Are the players allowed to create rare or unique items? And if so, what ingredients, or do they have to go on quest to create it?
Yes, absolutely. But there's always cost. Now, as rare ingredients, I guess it kind of depends on the exact nature of what they're building, wouldn't it?
Yeah. If they're building like the ultimate toothpick of all times, maybe they just need to find a special species of wood or something, like some shellac. But which would be like a fucking quest. Shadow, I got a new quest idea for my character.
Of course you do. I'm intermittent the mic because we've got a concert out here that I didn't realize because I live 2 blocks away from an amphitheater.
I'm going to find where you live. He's muting the the mic. Yeah, I think I agree with Shadow. Like your characters want to make something special. That's great. Now you just like make up some place in your world and tell them to go there and find the hoo-ha of doodads, and then like another place, and they gotta find the like MacGuffin of MacGyver or whatever. I don't fucking know. Make some shit up. You don't make it like super impossible for them to do that, and you don't make it a 6-month real time thing for them to do it either. But yeah, and then there's like a chance that they fail at making the thing. I always like if it's magic or whatever, like a magic imbued item, uh, make them have to do it on the full moon or some shit like that, or do a ceremony at a location. So they're like having to go all the way over here,
Don't forget ley
get the
lines. They will
thing.
never forgive you if you don't forget the ley
Yeah,
lines.
yeah, she's gonna have another seizure. You just mentioned on that, bro. And they gotta go all the way over here, and then all the way back over here, and then they fuck up. So they gotta like go all the way back over here, go all the way back down here, and the world's changed because they've done chaos the whole time. Like the players are nothing but agents of chaos, no matter how fucking saintly they are. So like they overthrew a government by accident. So it was like
We
a nice
actually did
peaceful
that in our
country
game.
to. It
Literally, we
was an
overthrew a government by accident.
it was a nice peaceful government the first time they went through. They knocked over one bar stool, and now it's a freaking wasteland. So you don't need to remember the names of all of the villages they crossed through because they've all been destroyed. You know,
George, you need me to repeat the question?
you're muted.
Oh, yeah, please repeat it.
Can players create unique or rare items? And if so, does it require special or unique ingredients and or a quest to create?
Okay, so I don't think I've gotten that far in any games and stuff, but I remember like
Makes you
reading
shut up.
I remember I would like to I think I would like that, especially if you're playing something where there is a specific class like an artificer that and I think the more special, yes, I do like the idea of getting the special ingredients, or even if it's not a quest necessarily, it's a gold sink just to really
Yeah.
drain the gold of the characters. And I do remember reading one of the Drizzt. It wasn't the Drizzt novel, but it was like the first novel with Drizzt in it. The one where there were I forget the name of it, but the dwarf made like made a magical weapon like in that book, and I remember just like. I never seen that before. Like all the books I read, the magical weapons were made way in the past, like Andril or something like that, or Sting. And I really like that idea that, yeah, we have guys that are making the magic now. All right, yeah. So
It's very rewarding for players. That's one of the reasons why I like this topic, letting the players have more agency than just being the agents of chaos, as Justin pointed out, but letting them, have a stake in the world, leave a mark, maybe just, a simple invention, gets one of the player characters' names on it, and generations, down the road,
The
it's
Bilbo motion generator.
right, exactly, and who knows, especially like me, I like playing generational games. I like to have a nice little break in between, play something else, and then come back to it, and then show the players like because of all the stuff the first party did. There's these little changes here and there, and throw in those little member berries and those little nods to you did this, you did that. Well, now that little thing you made, that special door lock or hinge or something like that, or whatever, is now just not necessarily taken for granted, but everybody is the whole planet is now a little bit better because of it. And it
Yeah.
wasn't because they killed smog or something like that, but they did this other thing that will stand the test of time.
Yeah. Oh, before I give my answer, Cal, since I think we're friends on Discord, if you can give me a link to that would be awesome.
Oh, jeez.
Link to what?
I missed a whole bunch of comments. I'm sorry, Dungeon Minister.
Oh, Cal's sending me to a place where I can get the art supplies I'm thinking for the miniatures for cheap.
Oh, yeah.
Gnomish Bazaar here in California actually has really, really nice prices. I didn't even, God, I didn't even see that. But yeah, I found some paint. I was looking for a green wash. I was scouring the internet. I couldn't find it for less than $14 a bottle, was for including shipping. And then I went over to Gnomish Bazaar, and they had, I got like 2 bottles for less than I could anywhere else, including shipping. Unfortunately, they had this really cool green color that I was dying to get, and of course it was sold out.
Oh, on Discord? Cal?
Hmm.
As a matter of
I was
fact,
saying on
this
Discord.
month I need to go back to Gnomish Bazaar and look into some more paints.
I will be right back.
Okay, give me a second. If Cal can't post, I'm going to go look for that right away so I don't forget.
Gnomish Bazaar. Yeah, and you know, for me, when it comes to buying paint, that's one of the big things. That's why I've taught my son to be so very careful with paint. Oh, look at the pretty doggy. Um, is the shipping time to get your paint? Sometimes it could be, you know, a really. Oh, was it you? Okay, Cal, thank you. I owe you another one. Um, getting the paints to your door can be kind of a big deal sometimes. So having a reliable place that's not just cheap but you know quick or local makes all the difference in the world because there's nothing like having to put a miniature off to the side because you don't have that paint yet and then you forget about it and then it never you know can become what it should. And Cal and I were both in the same state, so going to Gnome's Bazaar was just absolutely a lifesaver. What I need to do next is get better paintbrushes because some of these paintbrushes, these cheap ones that I've been getting, uh, the,
Let's
the
see
the
here.
the metal ferrule just it just keeps they're just like after a couple of uses, the glue that holds the metal to the wood just dies. And I was wondering, you know, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me, but
Let's
it was
see here.
bending, you know, as I'm painting because it wasn't actually
Yeah.
glued on anymore. So
Let's see here. I'm
that'll
going
be
to send you a link to the brushes I use. They are a nice blend between cheap and high end.
okay. Thank you.
If you aren't spending $85 on a single brush, you're doing it wrong.
That's
I actually do need to see about getting one of those type of brushes.
You need to see about getting yourself brush cleaner first, because usually that
yeah.
will take care of your brushes better than buying an expensive one.
Oh no, well, my interest in the expensive one is only for the specialty type of work, not general.
No, trust me. Brush cleaner first.
Oh yeah, well I got
Uh,
brush cleaner, but it's not very good. It's okay. I need to look into some of the better ones.
hmm. So where are we at? George with his
Well, at
cold
this
brew
moment,
coffee there.
That's just
yeah.
a Diet Coke.
All right.
Then why is it in a fancy cold brew coffee cup?
That
Yeah.
This place is
I
good.
was I've been learning too much about microplastics, so I'm like, I gotta start drinking out of glass.
Mm-hmm.
But it comes in the plastic.
Yeah, these things have plastic in them too. Like there's a liner in there. I just
Yeah.
have a bunch of them to go through.
Yes.
Yeah, I gotta stop drinking sodas.
No,
Yes, yes, you
I
do.
actually lost the taste for soda personally. I no longer drink them at all. Everything I drink is sugar free because whenever it has sugar in it, well, especially high fructose corn syrup, it just tastes disgusting to me.
Yeah.
Shadow, I put the link in the private chat.
Can you put it in Discord instead?
I'll send it to you.
Thank you, because
Well,
I
I
won't
put
be
it in
able to do
private
it.
chat so you can put it in the main chat for anybody who's interested because these are really nice brushes for how the price tag they are.
Okay, let me see if I can.
I'll do that. Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Well, I
You're a
don't have
mod.
admin. Yeah, I don't have that privilege, so I can't do it.
Not yet, not yet. You got to go through the initiation process, and there's a
Yeah.
scavenger hunt you have to participate in, and then you have
No,
to.
It's it's going to be like, I forgot what college movie it is, but it's going to be Justin sitting there talking, breaking glass bottles into a metal drum, talking about how I'm going to have to walk on glass. As soon as I jump down, it's actually Doritos. But I'm all blindfolded the whole time.
It can't
Old school.
go. It can't go in the chat. It's too big of a link.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
I'll put it into the general chat in
Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me close this. So we on to the next question?
Yeah.
Shadow, did you accidentally time out Dungeon Minister for 300 seconds?
Did I?
Yes.
Oh, well, he left anyways. Oh, what?
It still shows up over here, right?
Yeah, I can't believe. Well, he he said he was leaving, and then I found out he hadn't left, and then I guess I must have done that on accident. I'll talk to him later. God,
It's like Dungeon Minister. Why is there a weird Dungeon Minister tag? And I look up, and it's like, oh, message deleted by Shadow and Sun.
how long is 300 seconds? Like 15 minutes?
Something like that.
God, I am not on the ball today. Bad shadow. Bad shadow.
Can't end the timeout.
No, I can't. I think he left anyways. But I need to talk to him anyways. Because he did us a really big favor. So
Yeah. Well, my
What was the
my answer
favor?
to this question.
he's doing two voices in Jackie's show.
Oh, okay. Crafting?
My answer to this question.
Next question.
I still haven't answered the question. I absolutely love the
Yeah,
idea
cool.
of rare ingredients and sending players on quests, especially in the game I'm making where there are random islands. Like I'm one of the quests I'm going to build into my game is actually looking for Spice Island, an island that supposedly has every spice in the world growing on it.
Except cilantro, because that's poison. It's not a spice. It's not a
Cilantro's
spice.
great, bro.
It's I'm deadly allergic to it.
You need to eat more of it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Oh my god.
Just like that woman
So-
at Disney World or Land or wherever it was.
Yeah, that bullshit.
My wife put cilantro in everything.
Yeah, I can't eat it.
She made like a Greek soup for me once and put cilantro in it.
Yeah. Things like that and fucking chickpeas or whatever it is. What was the
Hummus.
what's the hummus? No, the it was lentils. So they got that in Greece too. There's like a soup that we used to get here that was a Greek soup that was
If it was lentil soup, yeah, they would call it fuck yes.
oh, fuck yes, yeah. Yeah.
Do you want some lentil soup? Fuck yes.
Well, next question, I will go ahead and start with Justin. How does the item creation process differ between technological and magical items?
Well, one requires magic and the other doesn't. But it depends. Like that, they require different materials for the most part. Usually, the technological one will require easier to obtain materials because, well, you don't need fancy gem eyes from the Dragon Cave of Dorsanaratu or whatever to make a toothpick. Unless you're making a really nice toothpick. Just saying.
The toothpick of slaying.
Yeah. But well, the gem encrusted toothpick of slaying. Then it doesn't have any magical properties. But you might need like the stupid gem of whatever to like make the magical toothpick of slaying. But you don't need you don't you just need like some freaking birchwood or whatever, right? Like pine. What trees do they make fucking toothpicks out of? Some
Toothpicks? I'm not sure. I
some
know
bamboo.
matchsticks are made from aspens.
Aspens. So you know what I mean, though, right? Like,
Yeah.
you don't like you might get into like iron smelting or something like that to make spring leaf for your new wagon design, but you don't need to go find the rare flowers of hookah buka.
Yeah.
One thing one thing I would think is that the the non-magical technology might be a response to the magical technology
Mhm.
or to magic in general. Like it's like especially in a game setting, it's you gotta like sort of level the playing field between the mundane and the magical, where like okay, just magical's another route to awesomeness versus the mundane routes to awesomeness. In writing a story, it's different. Magical can be like just hundreds of times powerful than the mundane, and it can work. But in a game setting, it has to be that sort of equalizer.
Yeah.
No, you pretty much answered, George. So, Shadow, do you need me to answer or repeat the question?
Yes, please.
How does item creation differ between technological and magical items?
For the most part, other than the few things that folks have mentioned here, I don't really think it does. There's a scientific process, if you will, to accomplish just about anything, and if you're following that, the actual ingredients themselves, uh, you'll find that uh, a lot of the ingredients are, especially once you get tech to a certain tech level, you're going to find out that, oh, you really didn't need eye of newt. You just needed, potassium and something that were actually in the eye of newt. That's just, a greater concentration of it. If you guys
Mhm.
remember the serpent and the rainbow, it was the chemicals in the puffer fish, but you could probably find those same chemicals and maybe even synthetically create the same thing, because I guarantee you, uh, scientists were quickly, once they realized, oh, it's this and this, to make zombinol or whatever it was, they found another way to do it, because they just isolated the active ingredients. So
Yeah,
now you've actually created a shortcut. You don't have to go look for a red dragon. You really just need, vast quantities of sulfur or whatever, that's actually the base ingredients. It's not anything intrinsic, to, unless it's, a more magical thing, or there's some sort of spirituality to it, or, because it's a beholder, it's got to be a beholder. You need the eye of the beholder, or the tentacle, or, a tooth of a beholder, because that's just the only thing that will work. And I find that a lazy way of doing it. You can, especially if the players think, along those lines, it's like, well, what's really the active ingredient that they need, or, can they find a shortcut, or another route, because, you know uh, maybe there's something, maybe in doing that they can actually find, a substitute, or instead of, them, making a +5 sword, well, they found an easier way to make a +4 sword. And, well, that's actually, that'll work just fine too. It's just one number off, or something like that, or maybe there's, uh, some other discovery that they're now, they hold the secret to this new discovery, and they can use that instead of the other thing, and
Hmm.
that keeps you from letting them get the next tier advancement because it satisfies the need, and you don't suddenly flood your world with this even more powerful item.
Then thanks for unlocking that childhood trauma of watching Serpent in the Rainbow. Yeah. Oh gosh.
Amazing what you can do without doing the thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because we all know
I will. And I'm
what
actually.
he's talking about.
I've actually never
I'll
seen it,
answer.
but I'm downloading it right now.
Yeah, when you get to the scene with the hammer and the nail,
Yeah.
just realize that you're not seeing it happen, but you're imagining it happen.
Oh, okay. I can figure out what's going on there. Ouch.
That's a tender victual. Just saying.
For me, there is not much.
Let me stop you there for a minute. I just want to say, if this was a Shadow production, we would have seen it happen.
Oh, thank you, Cal. I didn't notice that message earlier. Thank you very much.
You're like, fuck you. Will this joke ever die?
Well, my answer for this question is there will always be subtle differences depending on the type of technology or the magic you're doing, because there are also subtle things between magic and technology that it's virtually impossible to tell. Like there are lots of areas where the two blur each other. So
One thing I might add is that magic might have a catch to it. Like, there's always that
yeah,
possibility of a curse or something.
Mm-hmm.
Your soul is mine. What do you want with it? I don't know. It's kind of useless to me. I got it though.
Hey, what's up, Mike?
oh, you're welcome, Mike. Those I love those brushes. They are a nice blend between cheaper end and higher end brushes. They are not super expensive. You get a lot of them, and they, as long as you treat them well, they work quite well.
Mm-hmm.
That's a trick now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I treat them like the filthy you know whats they are.
Yeah.
You're better off getting even cheaper brushes.
I just threw two in the trash can while we're sitting here because they was like making me so angry. Yeah, one brush had that tiny little like something stuck at the end of it. I'm like, and it won't come off, and it's actually just the bristles at that very end just decided to go all split end on me. It's like, oh,
Now, this question, I'm going to start with George. This question, I pretty much expect everyone to answer the same, but I'm more looking for how you would do this. Can created items have side effects or unintended consequences in the game world? George.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the fun of it. The
Yeah.
curses, I always like that what was that Full Metal Alchemist, that whole notion of the
oh yeah.
equal you have to pay with equal value to get what
Equivalent
you want.
exchange.
Yeah. I could
Yeah.
That was genius.
Yeah.
What was?
Equivalent exchange.
Yeah, that's an old thing though. It's like,
I honestly had never heard of it until then.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
that's.
I think
well,
I've
one
heard
of
it
the
like
things
in
that
like
they, sorry.
oh, sorry. I think I've heard of it in like Wicca and things like that, but not in a fantasy story.
I mean, it goes
I'm-
way back to like real world alchemy and stuff. Like
Yeah,
that's
exactly. That's one of the things that when they say there's always been the law of equivalent exchange, that's kind of how alchemy has always worked. I don't know if
See,
they've said
I'm
that
used
throughout the
to
years, but that's how it's worked.
I'm used to stingy DMs where it's like 3 to 1, 5 to 1, 10 to 1, because they're just trying to siphon off your resources. So you
Yeah.
want to, it's worse than the money lenders, or the money changers. You need to, you want this. Well, it's going to cost you, 10 times or whatever of the thing that's relatively equal value, but because they're trying to,
Yeah.
slow you down.
And that's like that's when you're like you're not in a role playing setting at that point. You're in a like a I hate the player. Like at that point, the game master is no longer playing the game, but playing against the party. And like leave that table. Like that person should not be DMing. Um, they should
Well,
not
you got
be permitted to
you're
play.
absolutely right, Justin. But believe it or not, back through the '70s up to the '80s, that was just standard operating procedure for
Yeah.
whatever reason, and you'll
No,
find it a lot in some of the old video games.
I'm
Uh,
telling you this. If you were in a real world setting and you went to the market and they asked you for 10 times the value of something, and that was normal, you know how fast that merchant would be hanging from a lamppost?
Welcome to the show, Raven.
And if the guards would be overrun like within hours, there wouldn't be enough guards in the city to stop that from happening,
Mhm.
Nope.
right? Unless you had a spawn point for them. Raven, take your Caesar meds. We don't want you dying because you were wanting to find UFOs again.
Well, but
Uh,
Raven has a few things to say about item creation.
you know what I mean, though, right? Like,
Yeah.
you put a margin on things, not like it's 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 one of the reasons why, like, I hate to do it, but I always recommend finding the equivalent item from like its real world example than your hobby shop,
Mhm.
because the markup on things at a hobby shop are over
Insane.
15%, right? Like the average markup on glue or paint or brushes or like putty or anything like that is in excess of like 90%.
Yeah. Is Pearl Paint still around?
What
Pro
paint?
Acryl.
Pearl Paint? Pearl Arts Supplies?
Oh,
Pearl?
I
At least
don't know about that.
I used to see them all the place in Jersey, but then when I moved out here, I don't. They're not around.
Mm, could be original.
Yeah, Michaels is a ripoff.
Oh yeah, I hate that place, but I
You
will.
only go there when you get the 50% discount or whatever, the
Mm.
coupon that they're always
I,
throwing
I
out.
I stopped going to them so long ago that if they do that, it's news to me. But Hobby Lobby, on the other hand, I cannot wait till Saturdays that I get to go there, even if I don't buy anything. Just as soon as I walk in there, it's just like, they're so nice and the prices are decent, and if I go in there, it's usually because I know that, okay, it's 40% off Gundam week, or it's 40% off picture frame week, or 40% off brushes or paint week, and then the prices are less than you can find them anywhere else. And those cycles are like literally like every 2 weeks. Uh, like for Gundams, every 2 weeks, all the model kits go on sale for 40% off. That's a steal.
They're also based.
Yes, they are.
Well,
I know a few people who don't like them because of that, but those are bad people, and we don't associate with those people.
Yeah, I think the
Except
first time I heard about Hobby Lobby was like they were like suing. They were going to the Supreme Court, so they didn't have to like cover like not even like abortion, like not cover contraceptives in their health plans.
Yeah,
yeah, there's no reason why you should be paying for somebody else's good
they
time.
they
Yeah,
gave up. They gave up that fight, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, Harbor Freight's a good source.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
it's like green stuff, right? Like you can buy green stuff in that little pouch that they gave at Games Workshop, right?
Mm.
Um, and then like Green Stuff World, which you should not shop with because they're fucking thieves, will sell it to you in like 2 foot length. But if you go and find the company that actually makes it, they sell it in like 30-foot lengths or something stupid like that. So if you're doing like a lot of that stuff, or are you like you going in and it's like the same price. for like 10 feet of the stuff, because it's not 30 feet, but it's like it's a significant amount. You're paying almost the same price as you would from Games Workshop for like the 4 inches or whatever. And it's like,
Yeah.
That's a shame because we the one time we dealt directly with Green Stuff World, they sent us a bunch of extra stuff,
yeah,
and it was like a really nice experience. But then they never got back to us when we wanted to advertise them a little more, and they're like, "Nah, we don't need you. You're nobody."
yeah, they're ah, it's weird, but
Plus,
it's
they're in
it's just
Spain, so
epoxy putty, right? So
Plus, they're in Spain, so it's like, yeah, I really can't afford to be waiting, 4 weeks for, something, to be shipped to me these days. It's like if I need it, I need it in 2 weeks tops. More than that, and that just won't do.
hmm.
So moving right along, crafting, crafting. We scare them off.
No, I was taking care of some banana peels.
Banana peels. I told you it ain't worth the high, dude.
All right.
There's easier ways.
None of them worth it, if you ask me. Uh, yeah. Okay. Shadow, you are up first. Are there in-game factions or organizations that can assist or hinder item creation?
Oh God, yeah. The world hates a middleman, so you throw middleman in there. Um, and sometimes those guilds or those organizations or the corporations or what have you will, like Justin said, they'll get you a better deal, better price. You know, it's always fun to role play the NPCs from various corporations and things like that, or the sneaky connection that you got to go through to get the other thing to make the new thing. It opens up a lot of possibilities for role playing and not just handing them the thing that they're working on with a simple die roll. That's that's very traveler esque, and a lot of people expect that or want that, but you know, role play it out. I'm not saying role play every time you
Mhm.
go and buy a 50-foot roll, coil of rope. But if you're looking for something extra special, create a weirdo that they got to deal with, and stretch your role playing muscles by playing the guy with the limp and the hunchback or
DF, give me the orb for half that price, good sir.
something like exactly. Um,
um,
Yeah.
I do want to mention this comment Cal just said, but I've never heard of this Seder Art Studios before. But their green stuff advertisement literally says refrigerate it. No one else tells you that you have to refrigerate that stuff when it's not.
why would you tell them that? Oh my gosh, then they won't come back and buy more.
Yeah,
And Mike,
and
go ahead. Sorry.
they're selling it in bulk for $16, right? So it's
I
like,
absolutely love Harbor Freight, but every time I go there, do I have one handy? Yes, I do. Every time I go there and I walk out with some of these, it's a good
mm,
day. I store lots of minis in these, especially like the really big ones, the awkward ones. And I've
the
got, I've
screw
literally got,
sorters.
I've literally got like 20 of these at least. I may have 30, and they're like they used to be $5, like 4.99. Now they're like seven. Because
That's
of
not
the.
bad.
It's still not bad, but the thing is more often
Those
than
would be like $35 here, man.
more often than not, they don't even have them in stock because they're sturdy, and because they're black, mostly black plastic, they won't uh, turn to crap in a couple of months or a year. And They stack nice. They've got a little lock if you want it, and I freaking love them. And there's so many other things there at Harbor Freight. Just mm. As a kid, I don't know about you guys, but I hated going to the hardware store with my parents. Because it usually meant yard work for me. But now I can't wait to go. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Yes, Cal. Freezing green stuff is good, but if you're not wanting to wait for it to
Thaw out.
defrost, thaw out, just throw it in the fridge. If you're using it on a daily basis, which is like whatever. That goes for like your milliput, like all your epoxy putties. You keep them cold. Yeah, milliput. That should be in a fridge.
If I put it in the fridge, Grandma will eat it.
More reason to put it in the fridge.
Taking it downstairs next trip I go.
So on the question of the crafting items, sort of hindrances to it, I think one possibility would be to, let's say you had a character let's say you have a mage that's going to make a magic item, but he's been a jerk to everybody in town. Maybe that's sort of like a thing you could throw at them, like, okay, remember all those people you like ripped off, or you've done some sort of enchantment on, and
to get
it's coming
something
back.
like well under its actual price.
Yeah.
This solid gold ore. You only want a single copper for it? Sure. You only want a copper for it.
Did you guys hear that?
What?
I literally heard like it was like the stereotypical the whistle and then the explosion, like we're being bombed. I know it's just a firework.
I heard the pop. And you hear the whistle.
Was it these, Cal?
And those do look nice. I actually need to see about getting a couple of those.
Yeah. I'm thinking about making them. I got the router bit
Yeah.
for a nice snug plywood fit.
I'm gonna
Coming in
go
the mail.
get the last thing I got from Harbor Freight.
They also make larger, bits and bobs holders that are great, absolutely great for dungeons and lasers. These ones, the ones I just showed you, are great for the walls and doorways and stuff. And then the bigger ones are great for all that scatter terrain.
Hey, does Harbor Freight sell piano hinge?
Probably.
I need to find some piano hinge.
But you know what? Now that I think about it, or maybe not. That might be one of those things that, like fittings and fasteners and things like that. You might want to just, yeah.
Amazon it.
Yeah, I can't really think of. I can't remember seeing them. I should say they're more of a, power tools and accessories, and
Yeah, I know. I was looking at a planer from there.
Yeah.
Piano
the
hinge.
airbrush that they used to sell. That was a workhorse. That thing lasted me running nothing but craft paint as primer for years, and then it finally died, and I went to something else, and it's still in the box, brand new. I know.
I can't say anything. I've done that a lot too.
I've got a Iowata airbrush that's been in the box probably 3 years now.
Yeah.
They sell airbrushes at Harbor Freight?
No, I got it at Hobby Lobby.
Oh, okay.
But I do believe they sell airbrushes at Harbor Freight, from what I've heard.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
most
they
of the bigger ones meant for like cars and that kind of stuff. But
Yeah, no, they'll
No,
sell
it
the
was
bulbs, too.
it was actually a craft when they showed like model cars and stuff on the box. It was the compressor, the airbrush, everything you needed. It was when I got it, it was like $50. Now it's probably $150. But
no,
my
I'm at
little
Harbor Freight, not Hobby Lobby.
at Hobby
Yeah,
Lobby,
yeah, Harbor Freight.
yeah, the Iowata I got, I think I paid $125, and they used to have this 40% off coupon that you get, and it specifically said not good on the airbrushes.
What, the compressor?
No, the coupon.
Oh, yeah.
I lucked
Imagine
out.
getting
I managed to get an
imagine getting
airbrush and
40%.
I managed to get like a basically 99% off on mine because I got a used one from a thrift store. I was working at the thrift store and it happened to come in, and my boss has to label at the time anyway, had to label price tags on items. When this airbrush comes in, I'm like, oh, I definitely want to have this because it's an airbrush and a tank. She puts $18 on it. I literally look at her and say, since I was one who actually was supposed to price electronics, I would charge for no less than 30 for this. She smiled at me and walked away.
Yeah. Yeah. It's whatever.
Sorry, little side story. Anyway,
Yeah,
Uh,
no.
Justin,
What was the
you
question
repeat
again?
the question? Yes. Are there in-faction organizations or in-faction? Are there in-game factions or organizations that can assist or hinder item creation?
Of course, there are guilds everywhere. Guilds that don't want you cutting in on their monopoly, and guilds that will be glad to find things for you or show you how to do something for a price. Uh, you know,
One thing it could be is like the church. Like if you're making something, some kind of abomination, they could ask some questions, perhaps.
and anything innocuous can be an abomination.
Yeah.
Well,
Like your
church
jewel
is an
encrusted toothpick of slang. That's an abomination to the gingivitis gods or whatever.
There's a
Cavity creeps will get you.
the church comment immediately makes me think of a in the Castlevania games. I'm pretty sure everybody knows of the whip. In Castlevania Lords of Darkness, they actually explain the whip as being both holy and highly technological in nature. It actually had a vampire spike. It had the ability to cast a light spell, basically. It was the chain whip. It was also capable of pulling, not just like being a whip, but actually pulling because it had gears and motors in it that could actually pull things of weight, including you. And it was this epic item, and it was built generations ago by the church, according to the storyline.
Sweet.
So,
yeah.
not only can factions hinder or help or hinder, they can actually have things that leads into. Let's see, I gotta find it. Make sure I word it correctly. Here it is. That leads directly into the next question. Can players reverse engineer existing items to learn how to create similar ones? We'll start with George.
All right. That reminds me of a little bit we were talking about earlier, but Wheel of Time. So in Wheel, I like the idea, but it's going to be like a rare talent, perhaps, to do that, especially with something magical. Where one of the themes in Wheel of Time is everybody has sort of certain affinities with magic, and they had slightly different talents from each other. And one of the characters was Elaine, and her talent was that she can see these magic. They call them Terangrial. I don't think I haven't gotten very far in the books. I haven't gotten to the last book. I don't know if she was able to make a Angrial, but she was, I think, able to make Terangrials. And so that was her talent. But she was like very rare. It was something that was like it was a talent that's been lost and now just found. But it wasn't like everybody could do it. In some cases, also this just the talent to recognize what something else does was also a rare thing. So like, so that was Avienda's character. She she had the ability to recognize and manipulate these.
What did that stupid bowl do again?
The bowl of the winds.
Oh yeah, the winds. Yeah.
Yeah, they had to. Yeah, and I think they gave that to the sea people.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you get to the Black Tower?
Yeah. I got to the second to last book. I finished the second to last book, and yeah.
You might as well just finish the last one.
It's been so long that I go back to reading them from the beginning, and then I
give up.
I think I've read through book 5 and 6 like several times already.
Just read the last book. This is your assignment.
I'm the same way with Conan and John Carter, but I love them. But then I get distracted, because I'm trying to read Conan again, and I'm like stuck in book 4 or 6, and I'm like, and I'll never read Conan 1 again. I know that, you know what I mean. But I do need to, get back to it.
The thing about Wheel of Time is it's really intricate, and stuff he did, like he set stuff up in like book 1, book 2 that pay off in book 7, 8. It's or you're like, oh yeah, that person's been around since the beginning.
Or there'll be like someone that walks through for a scene in one book and shows up 5 books later.
Yeah, and he has
like a main character.
Yeah, and it's always and he has the excuse with the whole Tavern thing.
I fucking hate it.
It's his Ghost in the Machine.
He the like 30 chapters on the lace work.
Yeah, he does also write about horses really good. Like he's like, I don't know much about horses, and he'll like talk about patterns and the type of horse they are and stuff. Yeah, he's awesome.
Shit that needed to be edited out. If his editor wasn't his wife, those books would have been so much better.
Yeah, he's it's still good. I just like the intricate stuff. I like that it's sort of all tied together. Like there'll be like a prophecy in an earlier book, and in an earlier part or a later part that kind of goes back, and you're like, oh yeah, that's how it went.
He had a rivalry with Terry Goodkind, the guy that wrote Sword of Truth.
Oh yeah, that was a cool show.
No, the show was garbage. Read the books. The books were better. The last 3 fall off. The last 3 in the main series fall off, but don't read the ones after that.
Oh, the girls in the leather and the pain stick.
Yeah, that was in the book.
Oh, okay.
That was in the book.
So, Justin, you need me to repeat the question?
Yes, because we got sidetracked.
Yeah. Can players reverse engineer existing items?
Yes, of course they can. They can take shit apart and put it back together. But taking something apart doesn't mean you can figure out how to put it back together, right? Yeah. So you gotta like took it apart, but I got an intelligence of 3, so
and it voids the warranty.
It's actually not supposed to legally, but that warranty void sticker is just a threat. It's not actually like upholdable. But take the fuckers to court. Yeah, even before that, that's just from the 40s. But right to repair. But your country has no freaking consumer protections. They're not enforced. Harley Davidson owes like 30,000 people $1 million, but will they ever get it? No, because it's not being enforced. Do you have a GM car? Do you know that they're selling your driving data to bounty hunters?
Bounty hunters?
Yeah, just like bail bondsmen, bounty hunters, all kinds of people. Well, they sell to so many people that it includes,
bounty hunters. We don't.
Your car insurance is buying where you buy your tacos from.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So Shadow,
Yep.
you need me to repeat the question?
Nope. Um, it depends. I mean, if for example, because I've always thought about this, um, if it's like an alien device, like or an ancient device from long, long ago, uh, you have to have some sort of clue on how to even get started on reverse engineering. Because if you think about it, if we found like an alien artifact, right, we would go at it with screwdrivers and things like that, you know. But the alien society or species that created the item may have had very intuitive ways to open things where you just press down and then slide, like Chinese puzzle boxes. But we're just going to take a hammer and chisel and just pop that sucker open,
Yeah.
and in doing that, God only knows what you screw up.
You
That's
Yeah.
got your intelligence score of 3, like I was saying.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
in comparison,
Me
and
open with rock.
or what if the alien species that built it, had either extra fingers or different kinds of appendages to manipulate things, like with a tentacle? Well, they're going to use a lot of twisting motions, but you don't know who made it, so you're going to try prying and doing things that may be the exact opposite thing that they would think of to allow you to access the innards of said device. So it can, you know uh, if you've thought that far ahead and through the item and the species that created it, you may want to leave some hints to help them, because otherwise, if you just leave it up to a die roll, those die rolls should be very much
No, don't leave that shit up to a die roll, bro.
uh,
Yeah.
at some point there's going to be a die roll, but the odds would be so not in their favor that they would be very well advised to go at it really slowly and not even try to disassemble it until they could maybe X-ray it or throw it through some other kind of scanning device, some sort of
Divinate.
sonic, get an idea of what's inside, because if you could do that, then you can actually see the other side of the casing of whatever it is and get a better idea how to even start opening it, because opening it is the very first step, but it's also potentially the only step or the last step, because they just
Hmm.
blew the thing up or destroyed it, and now they gotta figure out how to fix it once they've opened it before they could even reverse engineer it, and that could set research time back decades.
Yeah. That reminds
Yeah.
me, the whole like difficulty in reverse engineering stuff. The Do you remember that show Wings? Not the sitcom, but the like on Discovery Channel about airplanes.
Hmm.
They had the story of the SST, supersonic transports. Everybody was
Hmm.
working on them. U.S. was working on them. Europe was working on them, which would eventually become the Concorde, and Russia was working. The Soviet Union was working on them.
Hmm.
Soviet Union had so many spies and people working for them here. They literally had the blueprints for whatever the American military was making for a supersonic transport. They couldn't. It was, but it was. I don't want to like tout the U.S., but it was the most advanced technologically
No,
at the time.
tout the us, do it, do
It
it.
was.
No,
They were the most
don't do
advanced
that.
with some help from Canadians. I wouldn't doubt the Canadians helped out. So, but it was
We built the
so.
whole thing.
So they stole their blueprints and they stole the Europeans' blueprints. They couldn't. It was so advanced they couldn't make heads or tails of what the U.S. was doing. But they were able to copy what the U.S. just shelved the project. It was too expensive, I guess, or they had better things to do, like go to the moon. So they steal the Concorde plans, and they made what they called Konkordsky, like this basically Russian knockoff of Concorde, because their plans were less ambitious. I think the American version had adjustable wing tips or something, where the swept back wings there's two. There's like in terms of going for supersonic flight. There's two options. There's the Delta Wing, which is what the Concorde was, and then there's
Mhm.
the swept wings, where you would literally the shape of the wing would pivot backwards to allow for supersonic flight.
Yeah.
And I guess they're like, this is just too crazy. We'll just steal the Europeans' design.
Now it's the other way around. Americans are trying to steal Russian designs.
Hmm.
That was the whole Crimea thing, right? They wanted the tanks.
Yeah, I don't know too much. Yeah, that well now we're like we were so focused on like fighting guerrilla wars that no, like the stuff we were the stuff we were practicing for in the 70s and 80s against Russia is now happening now. And we're like, oh, we better go to like learn how to fight a Arab guerrilla in the desert and mountains, and that's always the whole thing with warfare. The meta changes.
Right.
Mm.
I know we're getting very close to the end, but there's one last question I do want to ask, and then we can call it good. We'll start with you, Justin. Are there any narrative or lore-based restrictions on what items can be created, and if so, how are they implemented?
Yeah, fuck ton. Anything that destroys the game flat out is a no-go, motherfucker. If you're here to just derail everyone else's fun because you want to be a power creeping ass monkey, you can get bent. And the way that's implemented is give me your character sheet and tearing it up. Leave.
So, yeah, that's fair.
What comes to mind
George?
for me is Dune.
Tell us how you really feel, Justin.
Don't be an asshole.
What comes to
That's
mind?
my job.
For me, comes to mind is Dune. But that's just like a complete. It's forbidden, or there are ways around it, or it's just like you're just doing the forbidden thing, like you're just doing something that's not allowed. Never quite understand how 40K deals with it, because they seem to like have it and they don't have this whole disdain for technology, but they do have it, but they don't have it.
Warhammer handles it actually like this in three primary ways. You have most aliens, humans, and orcs.
Mhm.
Most aliens have technology based as you would expect, and they build it as you would expect. Humans, thanks to generations of the Mechanicus being left with nobody who actually invented, just instructions, eventually came to worship technology and the instruction books like holy text.
Mm.
And there is no new technology. All technology has already been invented by the mechanical god. It just needs to be found by mankind. And then there's the orcs. Whatever they throw together just works.
Mm.
Gorka Morka. Yeah.
Come on.
I guess that could be a really great way to deal with it. Like, so I like back to like we were saying about reverse engineering and things, and the whole what is it, the standard plate, the STC machines and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
what STLs.
STLs.
Which is ironically the same thing as 3D printing files.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's where I'm like sort of thinking it's sort of the whole just a societal thing.
No, it's STC, standard template construct.
Oh, I could have sworn it was L, but it doesn't matter.
Think about it.
What's that? There's like a not creepy pasta, but it's like a science fiction universe, like STC.
Yeah.
Or,
It is a creepypasta.
Yeah.
SCP.
SCP.
Yeah, my boy's into both. So
And those are actually pretty good. If I could afford them, I'd actually have a few of their books.
What Books is a website?
Well, they also have books.
Yeah, just
They did a couple
website.
They did a couple Kickstarters that I would have loved to have gotten into, but I didn't have the money at the time.
Okay. Just Just go to the website, read it for free.
I like physical books. I'm not that old, but I'm old school in that aspect. Give me a physical book over a PDF any day.
My eyes dry out too much for like screens.
Dark mode.
All right.
Okay.
You gave your answer, George. So, Shadow, last question of the evening. Are there any narrative or lore-based restrictions on what items can be created? And if so, how are they implemented?
That's a toughie. I think if you introduce, like in the beginning, something that's very unique to your world, then I could see why you would do so. Um, like if you've got like this really cool idea and you want to kind of keep it mysterious and and hard to get and hard to find and hard to justify why the players would have it, then maybe. But I would limit it, other than in the case that Justin described earlier, if it's going to break the game, which in some cases that can happen. In for my world, that's usually not going to happen because I'm willing to ride it out and see where it goes. Okay, you created this awful thing. Let's see what happens now.
Well, yeah. Like I have no problem like you're pushing and reshaping the world, but if you're like, okay, I'm going to invent this thing that causes all hit point damages that I receive to just go to other players in the party randomly, like that's a dick move thing, right? Like I could see a player doing that. That's like a fuck you to the game kind of thing.
Or something that just makes it impossible for you to take damage or the bad guys to resist it. If you're trying to invent, like, I get the
force
super weapon.
field, instant death ring.
Yeah. You're
Like, I have no problem with you playing a technically immortal character. Just there's got to be some sort of comedic consequence to it. Like when I played Lon the gnome, who was immortal, but every time he would get a mortal wound against him, he would teleport to some random place and have to walk back and make it.
As one does.
As one does.
That seems more like a curse.
Yeah, but he's immortal.
Yeah.
There can only be one.
Lon the gnome. Do you get the name, George?
Lon? Like Lan Mandragoran?
No, like Lon gnome.
Oh. Yeah, wow. I am terrible with word puzzles.
Shadow, you were in the middle of yours.
Lon.
You're still laughing over it.
Did you ever play Fable? Where
No.
you have to find the gnomes and stuff, and they're just insulting you the whole time.
Oh God. They're all Justins. Every single gnome is Justin.
Yes.
I don't insult everyone.
I quit
Just
that game
Shadow.
like halfway through.
No,
this one-
Justin. No, I'll let you finish.
there was this one thing you had to do with like the shooter guy, and you had to do this one thing, and I just couldn't do it. I watched all the tutorials, I just couldn't do it. I'm like, done, and never played it again.
Yeah, Justin, the gnomes will say things like, "Oh, those are nice shoes. I'll bet your grand's feet are cold without them." That's the kind of shit they say. That is totally you.
And and you have a dog in the game, and it's like, oh, he looks happy. He must be thinking about eating crap. Which my dog does.
Yes. One of mine does too. I don't let her lick my face because of it.
We have chickens, and we sometimes let them out in the yard. And if we let them out in the yard that day, she will come back with. She likes to smear it right on her side of her face. Like it's a thing they do because like they want to cover their scent because they're hunters. It's like, she doesn't know why she's getting yelled at. Poor thing.
Bath time. Also, you didn't even bring me a chicken. Oh. Yeah, you know cats. You ever have a cat that leaves you like a mouse or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Your shoes. That's because they think you're too incompetent to get food for yourself.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
No, there have been psychological tests done. They think you're retarded. That's why they bring you food.
that's why the dogs are so happy when you get home. It's like I don't know how he even survives out there.
So it's a pity present. Nice.
Yes. Raven, remember that. That's why I keep telling you. Eat a couple of the fuckers, and they'll respect you.
I second that motion.
Raven's got like 30 cats.
No, my sister's on the way to that one. She's got a couple of cats and her female's pregnant.
Oh no. We found a chick in the park, and we're learning it's a rooster. We live in the suburbs, so that's got to go.
Dinner.
Yeah.
Coco Vaughn.
And you can give your kids a whole bag of feathers to play with.
Oh, they named him. They named him Darkstalker from there. They love this series called Wings of Fire.
Yeah.
And there's this kind of a prequel series that's part of it that's around this Darkstalker as this black dragon of some kind. Very douchey name, but they love it.
Yep.
They think it's the coolest name ever, Darkstalker.
Oh, it's the kind of thing you'd name a sword.
Yeah. It's kind of thing you name yourself. I'm Darkstalker.
That's no worse
Until
than a
you
character
outgrow your
from,
edgelordiness.
You outgrew your Shadow. You never outgrew your edge.
I know. I was waiting for that. I'm the original edgelord.
I'm Shadow. Oh. Okay.
You know, and I
kinda
never,
subdued
ever,
episode.
ever question why I hang out with you guys. Never.
That sounds like you're questioning it right now.
No, that's what's funny about it is I don't. I know why. So I'm lonely.
So
Speaking-
lonely.
Speaking of weird matchups, I found a channel recently. U.S. presidents play horror games, and it is funny as hell. It's AI Donald Trump, AI Biden, and AI Obama.
Man, you gotta do it properly. It's gotta be like Nixon, Carter, and
I think they
James
exist.
Buchanan.
Gorbachev,
Franklin Pierce.
Franklin Pierce.
Kim Jong Il.
Nah.
I
He
think
would be that douchey guy, you know.
He would just be like, "I'm Kim Jong Un" for the whole thing. He was just like repeating that. Yes, Kim
I'm
Jong
Matt
Un.
Damon.
I'd like to see Teddy Roosevelt play a horror game.
Hi, Teddy Roosevelt. Or no.
They actually do have,
You want,
a video of Teddy Roosevelt playing a horror game.
Oh, cool.
I found it in their channel.
You want Bob Dole. I'm Bob Dole. Bob Dole. Bob Dole is moving to the door. Bob Dole is hiding behind the couch.
Bob Dole approves his message.
Has just died. I, Bob Dole, am not the final girl. I can't do Bob Dole.
Did Norm Macdonald do the Bob Dole imitations, or forget.
Probably.
Right.
If he didn't, I'd be surprised.
Bob Dole, Bob Dole, Bob Dole.
I showed my wife him on The View. she was laughing so much when he's like, "Don't you know Bill Clinton killed the guy?" It's
Yeah.
like,
It's one of the best.
Was it an actual View?
like literally The
Was
View
it
with
Bob
like
Dole or
Star
was it Bill
Jones.
Clinton? You
Bill
said
Clinton.
Bill
He goes, yeah. He says like, yeah, and Bill Clinton killed the guy. So I think like Joy Behar almost had a heart attack.
Only if she had.
Fingers crossed. Better luck next time.
No, it's too late now. She's already lived a long and fruitful life. You want her to have a heart attack when she's like 15.
It's funny you mentioned that because I remember, believe it or not, once upon a time, not only was she funny, but she it's like it's literally like she was at some point possessed by some succubus or Satan or something because she was legitimately funny. She was not my favorite comedian, but she was up there in the top 50 for a very very
Joy
short window.
Behar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she
Same
was
thing with like
actually. I don't know what happened to her and Whoopi. They there were some times I you know watching Comedy Central back in the day because once upon a time that was literally all I watched on TV. I had Comedy Central on literally 24/7. The first day it came out, it was probably on my TV for several years without me even turning off the TV.
Mm,
yeah.
not the science fiction channel.
This was before that.
Yeah. Also, what's her name was really funny until like just she got political. Amy Schumer. She was really
No,
funny.
she
She
was
had a
never
great
funny.
show.
I literally had never heard of her until she got political, and
Mm.
even then I don't think I've ever even heard her speak. I just know that everybody's supposed to hate her, and I'm on board with that.
I when I she had a show on Comedy Central, and that was around when my first or my second one was born, and we were just binge watching it, and then like she started, like, oh, she's the senator's cousin, and next thing you know, Trump's on
Amy
on the
Schumer.
stage, and you're like, oh, she's crazy, and stopped being funny. It was just, you know, so many people stopped being funny. What's his name? He was really funny too. That the dumpy guy. Gosh, I can't think of it. From that, she was
Peyton
from.
Oswald,
Yeah, that's it. Patton
no,
Oswalt.
that guy's a pedo and tried freaking I fucking my boy. We don't speak about that.
No. Oh, seriously? Oh my god.
Seriously, at
Oh
the
yeah.
last Grenadier in North Hollywood, California, my boy and I walked into this hobby shop, and there was Patton Oswald, and I just gave him a nod, and then I just saw him just like
Oh my
licking his
god.
lips, eyeballing my boy, and I'm like, you know, dude, I will take you outside by your freaking throat and curb stomp you.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah, that guy is uh, uh, an absolute piece of human garbage. And I will admit there have been times prior to that he made me laugh, but then I saw that and I'm like, no, absolutely no.
Yeah. Oh my god. Is anybody normal left in Hollywood? Well, not even just normal, just not a fucking piece of garbage.
Keanu Reeves.
I hear that, but I'm also expecting someday to hear something, and I hope to God I don't, because that would be a victory for us, for all of us, if he made it through that den of iniquity and stayed kind of that guy we all like.
Mm.
Yeah. Did they hear something crazy about him? I'm throwing my TV out the window. The other day, Point Break was on.
Oh, I hate that movie. I absolutely hate that movie,
I
and I was
agree
just
with you.
and I'll tell you why.
It's overrated.
No, that scene where I forget exactly. I'm going to try and paraphrase it. Where the character's girlfriend something happens, and he has the opportunity to just freaking take the shot, and he doesn't, or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I, y- no, you're not like walking away with my girl.
Mm.
You know.
I think Raymond's a little bit behind.
Yeah. That message was held for review, and I just approved it.
Oh,
Justin, you're a sick man. I assume that's back when we were talking about the cats.
yeah.
I just noticed it because I was flicking through my tabs, so you can see the light changing.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Then again, I'm
Yeah,
doing.
no, it doesn't show up on Restream because Restream is stupid that way. When YouTube holds the thing, you have to constantly be switching back and forth.
Oh, yeah,
Actually,
I
should
should.
look. You can pop the chat out. I think pop out chat and then open it as a separate window here. But that takes work. Uh, okay. I don't know if you want to wrap things up. We're kind of dead.
You're muted.
Who, me?
I think
No,
Shadow's
Shadow's
muted.
muted.
No, Shadow's just not talking.
No, he's
Ah,
muted. I said if you
Oh.
guys are burning out, we can call it early. I was going to go to the top of the hour and then say adios.
Yeah,
we
you're
could
just killing 15 minutes for.
we
For
could
the
do
sake of
find something to talk about.
Okay, give
anybody
us a
got
time of
anything?
choice.
Anybody got anything cool going on in the near future?
Uh,
No show on Monday.
I
I
saw
forgot to
that, but
mention
we
that
actually
Friday.
talked about that. We actually talked about that Friday. I think you just forgot.
No,
It might have
you and
been.
I
It might have
talked
been.
about it, and then I mentioned I forgot all about it, and then Hungar showed up, and I said he's got to do a show on Monday, but I won't be around because it's the 26th. I've got to go into the office.
Okay, no worries.
Um,
I can use a day off. It's been a very busy weekend, and I've got a bunch of stuff to do tomorrow, including my game and some other things. So I'm okay with that.
yep.
Because I need to get back on that schedule. That stomach flu thing just ruined that whole week. I was
Mm-hmm.
couldn't do the treadmill, couldn't find anything to watch, and I had to catch up on some video issue things and reading. And okay. You know what? I totally forgot. You guys probably are not big fans, but um, some of you
thank
may not
God.
have heard. Avenger Satanis is retiring, which I am heartbroken over, and it's I know there's some haters out there, but it's not good news. It's bad news for all of us independent creators who want to write our own games and supplements and things like that, and because it's purely a financial cost reward situation, and when one of us like that who's done such great work in his own niche uh,
Like, is
can't
he closing up his YouTube channel and
just about everything. He's going to still do
that's
his conventions and occasional things here and there, but he won't be after this Kickstarter. Which, if you guys are fans of Gonzo, like I am, or you want to, grab a copy of his first book, Chalt One, at a steal. Now's the opportunity. I'll try and put the link to the Kickstarter later. I'm going to actually do a video tomorrow on everything because uh, I really do value his work. He's literally my favorite game writer
mm-hmm.
that I've come across in many years. The closest to what I find enjoyable uh, for my own personal tastes. There's some things we probably don't agree on, but if somebody like that who works that hard can suffer not just because of the economy, but because of haters and things like that out there. Uh, yeah, they're also available there through his Kickstarter. Go check it out. Let's
Yeah.
send him off if he's gonna, you know, retire. Let's send him off with, a little, a little bit, you know, so the little bit of support we can give him without, being his next door neighbor kind of thing.
Hmm.
Let's do that. He's a funny guy. When you read his books, he's literally the funniest writer out there. Uh, you can see some of my reviews in the past, but it literally, you know, I'm almost brokenhearted. He's got like 5 kids, like Cal
Fuck.
says. And, yeah, I know he's got a really really good job, but
What's his day job? Do you know?
yeah. I think he's in construction or something like that. And
Mm,
you know, if it's going to be that difficult, then we need to back our favorite creators a little bit more than we used to, because it's going to come down to there won't be any more creators someday if we don't. They'll just say
yeah.
it's only for the big guys, and the big guys put out crap. And if that's what you want is watered down, mediocre bullshit, then don't support your favorite creators and reap the whirlwind. But
Yeah.
if you do want to see your favorite creators succeed, you do have to dig deep into the pockets and help these guys out, because they give us something. I personally have always enjoyed. I've got a collection of great products from great people, and they've enriched my life so much. So if it's not Venger that you're going to support on his way out, then remember those creators and that you do enjoy and that you do appreciate, and back the hell out of them where you can. Don't go broke. Don't sell a kidney, but at the very least, like we've done with Arduin here, shout them out. Tell a
Well,
friend. That's the
where is his book published?
he's self-published.
Yeah. So,
It's very
where's it printed? Like, where do you buy it from?
if you can either uh, get it from him directly, like I do, because then he autographs it, and he's literally got a garage full of books that he's had a hard time selling because
Yeah.
people, certain companies don't like his nudity or his adult content or his slamming. Drive through kicked him out because he made some jokes that they couldn't handle. Uh, that was one of the
Yeah.
main reasons I stopped shopping there. It's like, what do you care? I've seen the stuff that's in drive through, but because it poked a little fun at something that you were, going to
Hmm.
get butt hurt over, you can't take a joke. I mean, I look in the mirror every day. I can take a joke. You guys should be able to as well.
Yeah, you damn porn producing immortal asshole.
Exactly.
Gay porn producing immortal asshole.
Exactly. Of course, none of that's true. That's what makes it funny.
Except
But
for the gay porn producer. That shit is true. You did that.
I didn't produce it. I didn't produce it. I think there's another word you're looking for, but the record still stands.
Distributed. Distributed. You distributed.
Unwittingly, but yeah. Uh, okay, yeah. They're add-ons for his Kickstarter and very cheap. Even if you just buy the first one, because he's still going to sell his books. But if you buy his first book and you don't giggle, because one of the best things about his work is that he's not afraid to throw in the pop culture references, on his random charts. When you find random like items, don't be surprised if you find a sonic screwdriver or
Yeah.
something akin to that. That you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I've got this thing from this other thing, and he's not
The
afraid
vibrating ratchet set.
to throw in something.
Oh,
I got frog butts to seal here. Be serious.
yeah.
Nice. That's
Well, this is why I'm really big in the like your margins are smaller for the print on demand, but like once you set it, you forget it, right? You just like
mhm.
work on the next project. You don't have to spend time dealing with distribution and production and all that shit. Um, unless you've got enough revenue coming in from your existing product that you don't have to keep pumping things out.
Mhm.
Uh,
Absolutely. Uh, you
the
know,
margins are smaller, but like you get larger reach with those kind of things too.
right. I'm not highlighting that one, Cal. Um, but I kind of look at it like attack on one of us is an attack on all of us. You know, the big companies don't give a rat's about us, but they sure as heck care about stomping the little guys, and we're all the little guys, and
Mm-hmm.
we all at some point, I know each and every one of us as a YouTuber or a gamer that's on YouTube, we have that secret dream or even that active dream where we'd like to print something. We'd like to see something that we did go into print, and we'd like to, either hand it out to our friends or have our friends buy it or have complete strangers
Mm.
across the world buy it and go, oh my gosh, this is great. This is exactly what I've always wanted, kind of thing. And, I've got books that are crap. I'll never get
Yeah,
rid of them if I don't have to.
yeah.
But you never know.
Cal says his books are high end, and yes, I want to say high end books are nice, but put those for like your special Kickstarter limited edition or whatever. You've got to have
Oh, he
the the,
has. Let me pull out
the
a couple.
cheaper print on demand version that you can pick up for 25-30 bucks.
Okay, Alpha
Um,
Blue. It's a
yeah, like
standard.
that,
Okay,
that's a print on demand
I'm
book
going to
because it's
do
from
that
Dry
so
right?
Jackie doesn't get offended by the fact that the woman is wearing a shoestring and covered in tentacles. But then,
Yeah,
okay, that's a $10-15 book. But then he's got hardcovers. Excuse me,
yeah.
like this, with the glorious slipcover, autographed to Shadow and Sun, hardcover.
Mhm.
And when you take
That,
the
that
slip,
that's the one thing I hate about Amazon. They don't do the slipcover or the cloth bound, but
this is cloth bound. The
yeah, well, I
pages are
can see that,
glorious.
right?
This is this
Um,
these
but
and like
he could have done a version of that where instead of the cloth bound, it was just
I
the
think that's why he did PDFs.
yeah,
But the artwork,
because you can do
everything, the
that
maps,
same full color on Amazon. Or I
you
think
know,
you can do the slip color cover on Ingram Spark, but I haven't looked into them. They're annoying. And if
do
he had set up
something.
Ingram Spark, he would have been in bookstores.
Mhm. Yeah,
Uh,
and when I bought these books, they were like $40 a pop. Okay,
yeah,
and they're
that's a
worth
good
every penny.
price.
They're worth every penny of it. $5 shipping usually to the U.S. You can go check out
Yeah,
his blog spot. I forget where it is.
like
Um,
that's the thing. I bet to get that book here in Canada, it'd be $80, and
really,
it's like I'm just like no, like
really, because that box I sent Dungeon Minister, mind you,
it's
was full of.
weird with books, man. It's weird with
Oh,
books, like especially if they're new, and from a
we're gonna
company.
we're gonna have to work
Yeah,
out something where
Bear
we
was ranting
smuggle
about
some
this
some
today.
chalt books. We're gonna have to smuggle
I
some
can't do
chalt
shit with
books
him.
into Canada somehow. 20
Uh,
bucks now? You're kidding me. 20
tw-
bucks?
for that book that you just showed off.
Really? That's insane. That um I might have to buy a bunch of extras and just help the guy out somehow. I don't know. Maybe buy a trilogy and hand it out. Have a giveaway and give one of the trilogies out because well, we were talking about the book I was reading that I was having trouble with, right? I was having the exact opposite. Uh, 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 I didn't want to finish his books because they're so good. I'm on
Hmm.
Chalt book 3, and I'm like, I don't want to hurry up and finish it, because I'm enjoying it more than just about anything I've read in years. And if it's just a matter of his wife being mad at him and wants the books to go, he can just store them here, man. I'll make some room and stack them to the rafters if I have to. I've done that before. Um,
Yeah.
but we've got to take this as a warning shot to all of us creators and all people out there who want to create something or who plan on creating something. Be warned that it's not an easy road, but uh, you've got to get the word out there to your friends and everybody. Use YouTube as a vehicle to do that. Just maybe not go so hard on your side beliefs or opinions. You know, put out the product, talk about the product, and keep your fingers crossed because uh, Justin and I we're going to start doing that.
Slowly working.
And
Yeah.
I'm not going to let this deter us in any way, shape, or form, but I will take this as a valuable lesson on uh, what can
Yeah.
happen. You know, because I'm deeply saddened by the thought of not getting that surprise motherfucker, at least once a week in my feed.
Surprise.
Is he gonna still do the venture cons or no?
He's still going to do the venture cons, but Justin, that's how he opens up every one of his videos. It's
Okay.
surprise motherfucker.
Yeah. I've seen
And he's
few of
really a
them.
nice guy once you get to know him, and just yeah, it just bums me out. It's bummed me out since I heard about it last week, and so I'm gonna do a short video similar to this tomorrow, uh, but I didn't want to forget because I know more people will watch this than that, or people will watch that and then thumbs down it like crazy. But I'm okay with that because
Yeah. Do it as a short, not a video, and then distribute it to. You can go into short settings and have them so they don't show up to people that follow you. They show up to anyone that doesn't follow you. So
oh,
you can use them as like advertisements for your channel.
I'm gonna have to start experimenting with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks that they're so far away, but once I'm in Texas, then you can guarantee I'll be a permanent fixture at those cons because that's on my bucket list. Being in a Chalt game with Venger himself.
Yeah, it's now on my bucket list to stand behind you while you're in a chalt game with Venger and just call you a gay porn producer the whole time.
You'll be like
I
that.
think he would like that though.
You'll be the bard from Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah. I won't be playing. I'll just be your voice, the angel and the demon on your shoulder.
Yeah,
Stop
you won't be
producing
the
gay porn, Shadow. Don't do what that angel says. That demon says, Shadow. Produce more gay porn.
No. You do it more like David Attenborough style. And here we have the Chateau in his natural environment, procuring more men for his porn-producing ways. And he must do this carefully, for if he does not find the right man, he could be kicked in the balls.
All right, I've had enough of you.
you good sir. You good sir.
Yes,
Get a
I
gold
am.
star.
Yes, in about 2 years, Law Dog. That's the plan. If provided there's a Texas to move to, that's the goal. I cannot possibly open a game shop in California without it burning to the
What's
ground within a week.
fuck? I keep thinking of that place. San Martin. It's in my history feed. I'll look it up. Oh.
It's super hot where I live, and there is no cool breeze of freedom ever. So maybe one of these days, Law Dog, you'll come into the shop and uh, sit down and play some games.
Santa Monica.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you gotta open yours on the strip there. Santa Monica. 40% vacancy on the strip, you know?
really? Hey,
Yeah.
that's where the first game shop I ever went to was there, and it would take us 2 hours to drive there and we'd pile in the car and make a day of it, and come back with
Well,
lots and lots of
you
old
know,
stuff.
your your property value is based on how much you are renting it for, right?
Mhm.
But if your lot's empty, it's based on what you're charging to rent for it, which means they get their same tax deductibles. Like the property owners get their same tax deductibles for it being vacant. Um, at that higher rate. If the government actually wanted an economic build back better policy, uh, they would just implement a law that said if your rental property has been vacant for, I don't know, 6 months, your property values are at zero instead of like 2.5 million or 4 million or whatever.
Hmm.
You know, which would drive down the prices, which would make people be able to afford. Because that's the biggest problem with the strip is not even the drug dealers or the lack of people shopping. Is that they can't afford the rent at like $20 to $30 a square foot, you know,
Hmm.
a month. So you're like, what's that? Say $30,000 a month plus, you know,
Utilities,
utilities,
alarm services.
staff. You double that, so double that, and then you gotta like sell that in merchandise plus every month to break even. So $60,000 a month to break even. You know,
Yikes!
And that's a
and
good
that
month.
no that is breaking even. That means you're making no profit whatsoever.
No, I mean that as in that's a good month. There will be unexpected expenses as well.
Yeah, yeah. Um. So like that's why they have a 40% vacancy. And it's like Santa Monica, like it's where
That's
they're
crazy.
like, oh,
All right, guys, we're a little over. We made it to past the hour. Thanks for playing along, folks. Appreciate it. Crafting Gamer, excellent job as always.
Not a problem.
Next week, I believe, is the free for all, and then we're going to move into September, and we'll see where that goes. So we'll see you guys back here for this sort of thing.
the link I just posted is to a video talking about the economics of the strip, of the town in last 5 years.
Okay. I will see you, Justin, tomorrow for game time. I will see
Game time.
Crafting later. Take care, Mike. Good seeing you. Great game today, Cal. Great game today. Law Dog. Thanks for playing along. Everybody else in the chat, all you lurkers out there, these folks that will come by and watch this later on. Seriously, do us a solid. Go check out Benjer's stuff. Let's send him off with whatever we can, in the hopes that it won't be that long before he comes back, because the gaming world will not be the same without him. We'll see you guys all later. George, thanks again for stopping by. You're welcome here
Well,
anytime.
thank you.
If you don't have a permanent spot here, that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Anytime, guys. We'll
Party on,
talk.
everyone.
Good
Bye,
night.
guys.
All right. Good night, all.